Coach, so first of all, congratulations. And second of all, just what does it mean for you to get this big job at Midland College?
It means the world. I had a chance to, win a decent amount at a few other spots, and I coached Division I. And in my mind, that level is very political, and you miss the part where you just get to help people. And so that's the fun thing about junior college. And, you try to get somewhere where people have that same vision, and that's the most exciting thing. Obviously, the resources, the city, it's an amazing place, especially for junior college standards. Sometimes junior colleges are kind of in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it just checks a lot of boxes. It's extremely exciting.
You have several years of experience. What are you going to bring in this in your upcoming run with Midland College?
Well, I think it starts with recruiting, and what you tell kids to get them to your campus, and that isn't discussed often. What you tell somebody is your word. So you give your kid your word on how things are going to be. You try to explain the great things and the things that aren't so great, everything in between. And when they get there, you build a bond with them. And I think when you have a relationship with your players and you bring in the right people, then you can coach them. People's mental health, bringing in the right personnel, as far as like the players go. I think that's the big thing. I think a lot of the work is done in, recruiting and then how you talk to people. There need to be standards, and they need to understand coming in how things are going to work, and you need to hold them to that every day. So if you can build that before they get there, then you don't have to try to discipline them in January and February.
And you were interim for some good time. How did that time being interim head coach prepare you for this full-time role?
I think it prepared me here, adjusting to what junior college is now, because it's been a few years since I've coached it, and adjusting to Midland College itself and how you operate. I think the big thing here is there's so many resources and there's so many good people, and you don't have to do everything by yourself. So you have to figure out who do I go for this? What do I do? You know what I mean? And over time, I've been able to, figure that out with, of course, Forrest's help and, everybody else's. That's been the big adjustment, is just trying to learn the system. And trying to do that from an assistant spot and a head coaching spot are two different things. So the basketball is a basketball. You got to coach people every year, like I just mentioned. And so that part I know I can do. But adjusting here has been the main thing, because I want, to have the kind of team that the people that work here can be proud of. They can walk around campus, treat people here well. I mean, to me, if you can't be respectful and treat people well as a basketball player, you just don't belong here. So it's kind of, the route that we're trying to go, and every kid that we bring in here. And so I'm trying to build good relationships with everybody on campus and let them know we will fall short because we're not perfect, but here's what we're trying to do. And I've been able to do that in the time here for sure.
And kind of touching on that subject, obviously last season, the interim, you led the program really well, learned a lot of things. And you talked about how tough of a conference it is. Kind of what do you expect going forward for this program?
To win. We're not interested in conference or region championships. We want to win a national championship, and we want to build a national program. I told Dr. Kennedy, I feel like we have as much as anybody in the country, and we have better support than almost anybody as well. The goal is national championship or bust.
And how can you speak about that support that you got from Forrest and all of the other heads of the Midland College board throughout last season when you were interim and throughout this process?
Well, when you take over a team in the middle of the year, everybody's got to feel out each other. The players have to feel out me, I have to feel out them, and it's not a fast process. If I just try to force things on them too quickly, it's difficult, and we could kind of ruin the relationship. I thought a key was having a good start, and we were able to do that. And I knew where to go, what to do, who to talk to, how to operate. When I had a question, I asked, and they answered, and they always sat down and gave me their time, which I can appreciate. Even if they were busy, it's like, here comes Coach again. But they sat down and they led me through it, because I wouldn't have been able to figure it out on my own.
And obviously not great circumstance with Trey, but what were a couple of things you were able to learn from him that, you'll take into your coaching career?
I've never necessarily been a guy defensively that fought through everything. We were more switching, matchup zone, pressuring, that kind of thing. With Trey, he's really, really good at teaching the details and making it simple. There's some things, without getting too in detail, I learned to coach defense a different way. I think that mixed with what I already knew, it's really going to work. Because if you can go from switching things to fighting through everything, it's very difficult to score on us. We played Snow the first semester, and we gave them their only loss. And that was Trey and I scout. And we sat down and we talked back and forth and back and forth. They kind of sting you when you switch, when you over-rotate. So Trey's kind of defense is mano a mano. I'm going to fight through everything. We're going to be in these spots, and we're really focused on it for that game. That was probably, even the games I coached on my own, that was the most fun I had all year because we were dialed in, and the scouting report made perfect sense for how they guarded, and I think that's why we were successful in that game. So I think just a balance on the defensive end. I really learned a lot from him in the short time, as far as that end of the floor goes.
Going back on the support, have any players reached out to you when they found out that you're the official new head coach?
Oh yeah, they're all excited. The guys that are returning, the guys that are moving on, everybody's excited, and we've all got a good feel and understanding for the situation. We all love and support each other, so yeah, they've been excited.
We didn't really get a chance to speak with you after the season ended, but how can you kind of reflect on how the season ended and just the run that you all had, because you were ranked number 5 in the nation at one point?
I'm probably not the best press conference person because I'll always believe that you're only as good as your last game, and we lost our last 2. So very disappointed in that. I got to do a better job next year making sure we finish the year better. That's kind of how I'll remember it. But as far as winning those games early, that was a testament to the players, to be honest with you. They really wanted to win when they came back. They felt a little bit more freedom. They were comfortable because things were starting to align a little more, and I was excited for them, to have that opportunity, to get that attention, to be in the spotlight for a little while. I've had that as an assistant, as a head coach, but I was really happy for them. So I would just say, more than anything, I'm excited that the guys that were here got a good experience, because that was a concern for me as we were going through the year. What kind of experience will this be for these guys? I didn't recruit a lot of them, and that's a huge deal for me. Like I told you guys, building a relationship with each guy individually. And so we were able to do that kind of on the fly, and that's the special part to me. I've got a different bond with these guys, and we've got a few of them that are going to be able to move on and play, and I'm just really excited for them in that regard, because ultimately if you win and guys don't move on, what was the point?
I got one more question for you. And as far as recruiting, what are you looking for in recruits?
Number one, really good human beings. And guys, they always say this, guys are wired to score. And everybody out there wants to score. I mean, the biggest downfall for young people is the drug of attention, whether it be social media, clout, whatever that is. And scoring seems to be what everybody wants to know about. So it's hard to find guys that are willing to buy in and do whatever it takes to win. So that's been my search, is like, hey, let me get some guys who understand if, we all eat, we're going to be successful. Those kind of players that are going to be selfless and do what it takes to take our program to the next level.
And Coach, obviously you know about what a tough conference it is, with OC, you guys, there's several other guys who can compete, Clarendon. Just how can you speak about just the conference alone?
When I got out, that's what I missed the most. You get to January and 2 nights a week you have wars. And so coaching high school basketball is okay. There are some fun things about it. I enjoy being at home. But what I missed was just the competition. Everyday practice, getting ready for these games, being locked in for 2-3 months. Every night there are no nights off. We played 4 or 5 teams in a row to start off conference that were ranked. I can't even remember, whatever it was, and every team was good. Some of them were at home, some of them were on the road, and that's how it's been. It's been that way. So to me, if you're going to coach, you should want to coach against the best. And at junior college, whatever anybody else says, I'd say pound for pound there wasn't a better conference. What other conference ended the regular season with 5 teams in the top 25? So I'm excited about the day-to-day competition. I enjoy it. I'm wired for it. I get up thinking about it. I go to sleep thinking I'm obsessed with it. So it's a lot of fun.
And my last question for you, obviously, MC baseball's been good, MC softball, MC basketball, a lot of teams.
Golf.
And golf is great.
Come on now.
Number one, can't forget about them.
You better not.
Tee it up out there, yeah.
Hey, for years.
So a lot of good programs here at MC. How much do you guys plan to, get out and support them?
A ton. They all support us. This year, trying to double cover, the assistant role I was in, and then taking over and trying to still cover the bases of both parts made it a little bit more difficult. And then getting into the spring, really just huge in recruiting, trying to make sure that we're getting the right guys. It's been a little bit more difficult for me. I feel like I'll be able to manage that better moving into next year. But they're all amazing. Coach Walt, Hector, everybody's great. Everybody's easy to work with, and you see them at the games, they check on you. Coach Hector came to a practice this year and shot around with the guys on a game day. It's just good people. So I'm excited to support them as well.